Hey there, Stephanie Joy with all things Social Security and the law practice of Joy Disability. Here's a short little segment from our recent live stream Q&A that we have every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the YouTube channel, All Things Social Security. Enjoy, and if you have any questions, leave them down below in the comments, and I will be sure to get to them. Thanks so much. Bye-bye now.
Hey guys, how is everybody? Shiloh, I see you are here bright and early with 5 million questions. We'll see. We'll get through them, but we'll probably jump around because I don't want to make everyone else not be heard. Are you? Dimple's in the house. Dimple says yes, she can hear us. Okay, good. Guys, you know Shannon Justice of Justice Disability. Shannon's in Kentucky, right? And Shannon, do you see the postings part? The
comments, yeah, I see them.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to put your website in there, so if anyone wanted to reach out to you, feel free. You know, you could just type it right in there. It'll come up on the page. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it'll let me.
Okay. Anyway, so Shannon's been here before a couple times. So we're gonna share your questions, and you can see maybe a couple different perspectives and stuff like that. All right, so let's go back up to the start. I'm going to start with Gregory Penny's back in the house. Hi, Gregory. Hi, I was found disabled due to my low IQ back in 2020. I remember this from last week. My psychologist stated my IQ was extremely low range across all areas. I got my short form CDR back in June 23, and I assume I'll get another one this June. I don't know what your CDR, what your diary date is. My question is, if they ever wanted to reevaluate my IQ under a full review, will they send me to, That might be something you should actually have in your back pocket. I don't know that they're going to send them for IQ. They might send them, have you seen that? I'm thinking maybe have. I don't really think our IQ changes it. Isn't that like some innate thing? But we can gain
Not
skills.
supposed to vary.
Yeah. I don't really have a firm answer for you, Gregory. I'm sorry. Anna, you don't either?
I would just make sure you're still doing your treatment, because that's what's going to come down to. It's not going to be, that wasn't the only factor that was taken into consideration when you were approved. So it's not going to be the only thing they look at when they reevaluate. So make sure you're still doing the treatment. That's what's going to.
Yeah. Now, what if you're not treating because it's just like hey, this is my IQ. Maybe you want to go get yourself reevaluated.
Yeah, it should have been more. I wouldn't think if it was just like a major, if IQ was the only thing, I wouldn't think they would do a review, because that's something that doesn't really change. It's going to be based on like other things also.
If it was, yeah, that's why she's probably saying it wasn't just the IQ. It could have been like you had bad anxiety, Gregory, maybe, or couldn't keep to a schedule, like that. The whole like
ADHD,
it's kind of like a different something where like
that.
Or there could have been other psychological factors.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was physical ones. If you can get a copy of whatever the basis was, that would be the DDE back when you were found disabled in 2020, or if you went to a judge, Gregory, I'm not sure if you did or not, his decision will probably tell you too, I would think. And then you're going to know what things you got to be, keeping strong. KU Thunder's in the house. Hi, Stephanie and guest. That's Shannon Justice of Justice Disability. How much weight do letters or statements from friends and former workers carry? I know they are good to have, but suspect every applicant file has them. What do you think, Shannon?
They're not real important, but some judges do bring them in their denial letters more than anything. But you just gotta, sometimes they are helpful, but it just depends on the situation.
Yeah, I agree. Friends and family have every denial is going to say, and even an award. Because the judge has to acknowledge everything that's said of magnitude, and that would be an entire statement from one person, as opposed to a little sentence in a 1,000-page medical record, which they don't have to give you every word that was said. The friend and family member has biases. Clearly, that's going to be expected, that they want you to win. So their word is not really something that's really objective. Whereas former workers, I think, a little bit more objective. I wouldn't share that we're besties now, and we're besties before we work together. If a former coworker, particularly a supervisor, if he's still in the job and he's got letterhead and he can do it, that'd be great. That's not often the case, though. They're hesitant to do it on letterhead. Although I've had owners of companies do it, which is nice. I definitely prefer coworker statements. And the way I've done it, and it's not that often, because people don't often have relationships with their former coworkers after they've left. It's been a few years, but sometimes they do. It's just not that common where I'm at. But if a former coworker will say, particularly if they still work there, for some reason that just seems stronger to me as opposed to not. But I worked with her, when she's here, and here's what I saw. But I always want to talk to them first. So I always say, well, she talked to me, and then I could even draft up her statements that she tells me, and send her a 795 form that she can execute. And that way we're only putting in what I think is going to be pertinent for a judge's consideration. And I think that will hold more water than a friend or family member. Generally speaking, I mean, there's always exceptions. You know, like if they saw you going into the break room a lot to lie down. I had one guy, they always saw him going to the break room to take off his boot because his foot would be like this. It was a car dealership, and then he had to do a lot of walking. We did win the case, and that person was really helpful. It was funny. It was like a young kid who was training to be a car salesperson, you know, and here was this veteran car salesperson who was really good at his job. But the physical nature of that job, in terms of, it's not heavy, it's probably light, but you're on your feet all the time. Let's see. Gregory says psychologist. Yeah, I think you could probably do well, whoever's credentialed for IQ testing, probably a psychologist. Don't you think, Shannon?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to pop into a Shiloh question. This isn't your function report stuff, Shiloh, which is still up top, but we still got questions to go. It's a different one. My therapist sent the info to SSA. They requested. All right, that would be her records or whatever. It was sent after I received a form from SSA asking for a CE exam. I assume it's a mental health CE exam. I thought they were going to review the medical before they asked for the consult exam. Well, they didn't have it, so they didn't know if you were going to get it to them. But I will say this, and do you find this true too in your area of the woods, Shanna? Even with this therapist exam record, sometimes they just want to confirm. It might be they find that to be, well, we got to see if we can believe what she says. If what she says describes you as disabled, let's let our guy look at him. Or they find that her stuff doesn't clinch it, and maybe their guy can clinch it in your favor. And then oftentimes it's a denial or not a denial, but it can go either way. It's really not.
Yeah,
anything.
I've got one that he has seen 2 ophthalmologists that agree with each other that he's got glaucoma. That normally that's something that gradually comes over years of time. This person has become practically blind in a matter of months. So I questioned it myself, and then the lady at the Social Security office did too. So they did end up sending, even though he's already seen 2 ophthalmologists about, you know, the surgery and stuff and whatnot, whether it'll help or not, they did send him for a CE for that, as you know. I think he just went to that the other day, so I'm waiting to see what the report says.
Yeah.
But sometimes I just need a little bit more to confirm, or just to make sure that, you know.
Yeah. The statement I always understood, well, I don't know where I got it from, but I've had it in my head for like 20 years, is that they do a CE exam when the evidence could show you're disabled. It's just not quite clinched and clear, but it's possible you could be disabled. So in that vein, it sounds like they're trying to help, you know, a plaintiff potentially with, because they might be, but right now they don't have enough evidence to know that, hey, she's busy cleaning herself. Ricardo says, business done the right way. We agree, right, Shanna?
Yep, exactly.
Brown Eyed Girl says, not at all looking for chat time. Yeah, so why don't you just text them what you need to talk about? I mean, do they have like I don't know, do they have a portal, or do they give you an email, or is there some other confidential way to ask questions? And are you saying they ignore you if you message them or leave them a phone message? I mean, if I get a message and it can be answered in message, that's what we do. I'll be dictating, or someone else, if it's like a quick, hey, did you receive blah, blah, blah yet? They don't need a phone call from me for that. And I don't even have to be the one to answer it. It can be someone else that says, I'll check the file and I'll let you know if we have it, or something like that, you know? Sometimes, I mean, I have all these videos. Sometimes it's like, that's explained in this video. Cha-ching. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm working towards that.
Yes, you should definitely. It really, I mean, some of you know that I started doing this when I was just making video explanations of things for my clients, kind of internally, because it was the same questions getting answered over and over again. And if I spend all my time teaching on the phone, I can't be working on the cases. It's just a fact. So, and then I would just have to give up my day job and go be a teacher or something. And then it turned out that I can upload the videos to the portal, but a lot of times people can't download them to watch them because they don't have that much memory on their device. It could be a 40-minute explanation. So that's when I got the idea to put them up in the ether world up there. There was Rumble at first, and then it was YouTube. And YouTube, because it was simpler, there was more features available to help it. And then it was like, well, why don't you just let everybody see those? There's nothing proprietary about that. That's all just explanatory. So, and that's what I did, and that's when it ended up being kind of what it is today. That was like maybe 5 years ago, or almost 5 years ago. I always say Jonathan is the grandpapa of YouTube SSD. It's the grandpapa. But yeah, I mean, what happens, Brown Eyed, if you ask a question? Do they literally just ignore you? Which case I think that's very wrong. I'm getting allergies this season big time. I don't know why. I mean, it's getting to be spring, but I thought that really cold winter would have made it a little less bad. Rain Gal says, scheduled for 2 CEs, 1 GP, so general practitioner, 1 chiropractor. CE with a chiropractor, huh? Any idea why the chiropractor? I don't know. That's very interesting. I mean, isn't that weird? Diagnosis, degenerative disc. Everybody's
They
got
always
that.
crack me up with that because they do use them for CE appointments, even though they don't see them as valid doctors.
This is that doesn't make
I don't
sense.
get it. I mean, it's only something for one of us to argue about if it wasn't to their favor. You know, like, well, you don't recognize
I would
them
like
as
to
the.
think, I wonder if they pay them less and they're like, listen, we think we're going to grant this person, but we just to cover our tracks, we have to have a CE. So let's just give it to
That
the
person's
chiropractor.
54, so
Do they
that's
pay 'em less?
definitely, yeah.
So weird. I think it's weird.
I thought they
long
weren't using them as
COVID.
often anymore, but I guess they still do sometimes.
I don't really.
I've not
often
seen
see it,
one
so
in
it
a
must be-
long time.
You have not?
Not seen them use a chiropractor, no. Not in a long time.
No, I don't even know if I ever have. That might just be something weird out of your office, Rangal.
I know they
Well, it
used
looks
to
like
use
it's-
them a lot, but they
Oh,
said
you
they're
saw it
54s.
earlier?
Yeah, years ago I've seen them do it, but I haven't seen it in a long time.
3 hip dislocations. Yeah. I don't know why the chiropractor. That is weird. I mean, is he just going to take x-rays and then, but
It's
he's not
probably
even
just the range
qualified
of
to read
motion.
them.
It's probably the range of motion testing,
Yeah.
but at
I guess you'll
54, I'm
find
not
out.
too worried.
And it's weird because they're both for physical stuff. Like that's really weird too.
But
right
with
there.
that age, I wouldn't be too worried.
Well, if I saw 55, I'd say that even more.
True.
It's tricky. We were talking
Right
about
on that, yeah.
Yeah, and how for a number of years now, it seems like they're always trying to put the 50 to 54-year-olds into a light bracket so they can deny them. And then hopefully they have DLI left where they can then just apply again and they're going to be 55 and they're going to prevail. I don't know. Very frustrating. Ricardo says, all this helps with becoming more aware of the way of having comfort and security of trusting the process. Yeah, I mean, there's a process, and when everyone follows it on both sides, like client and reps, I think it can be very, very positive. And I always say, like, we have a methodology. You probably do too, Shauna. It's like we do don't, and you're expected to do don't. And that was something that developed for like 20 something years now. When I started, I was like clueless. There was no education out there. There was no YouTube. There was nothing. There was no law school stuff for it. Now you can find CLEs on it. I've given a CLE. So there's more to learn from. I had to learn it all from scratch, but maybe it helped me not learn anybody else's bad habits because everybody else was lawyers doing other things that were moving over. I hadn't been doing lawyering for other things for like more than, 10 years. So maybe I wasn't so burnt in that way. And and the last 5 had been on my own anyway. So I wasn't really ingrained to the old traditional ways of doing things because I didn't think they were very effective. Now that we had internet, I'm like, there's so many better things we can get done faster for people. But I do get pretty nitpicky. I mean, with our methodology, I call it. Like people can't just say, but I'd rather give you my information in this format. I'm like, no, here's a form. It's so that we see it the same way and my people see it the same way. So they're not going through a needle in a haystack because you want to send me 1,000 papers and not fill anything out. That's not happening. That would be a different lawyer you got to go to. Probably the ones that don't read it anyway. I mean, they're not going to care how you send it.